welcome to the first ever edition of Books and Brews, the review. Guys, my name's JL Hickey, but you can call me Joe. I'm a avid book lover, writer, author, published author, small time. You've never heard of me, and that's okay. Hopefully, with due time, that changes. More than anything, though, I'm a nerd. I'm a book nerd. I'm a nerd through and through. You can see I got arcade, superheroes, video game stuff behind me. But above all else, I love a good brew, and I love even better book. And so I'm going to mix the two together and join the booktuber community, which I don't know how that's going to work out. But I don't really care, because I'm here just to talk books. And for my first episode, I'm going to go over a little bit about me, who I am, what I like to do, what I like to read, what I like to drink. This is my second Oktoberfest of the season. I love me an Oktoberfest. So before I go into my first review of The Shadows by Alex North, I'm going to go through some of my top favorite books so you get an idea of what kind of books I like to read. I know the booktubing community is really big in young adult. I'm a young adult author. Middle grade young adult is what my first books were published under. I've currently moved into adult fiction, horror, and thriller. Those are my next two contracted books will be in that genre. And that's mostly what I read nowadays. But if I had to go through like a top 10 list, and I'm not going to worry about the actual number, I'm going to say my favorite book of all time is definitely going to be Stephen King's The It. I just read that about 3 months ago while I was on quarantine. And it honestly blew my mind. I had no interest in reading that book ever. In fact, I used to mock Stephen King. I did not like him for the longest time. And finally, I got around to reading The Outsider, which I would also put in my top 10 favorite books. And it opened up a whole world of King to me, and I gave him a third chance. And I've noticed as I've gotten older, my book likes have changed. And Stephen King really kind of stole the show for me for a while. I was only reading Stephen King for about 2 months, and I enjoyed majority of what I read. Not everything. And we'll go over that in some future book reviews. But yeah, Stephen King's It is probably what really took the number one spot. I'm a big fan of Gillian Flynn. Dark Places was phenomenal. Probably my favorite thriller of all time, psychological thriller. I love all of her books. Actually, we're going to talk about it here, but The Shadow is a pleasant surprise. I don't know if it's in my top 10, but it's close. It was damn good. But we'll get into that. I gotta get more of my beer down before we go too much into that. Called The Fisherman by John Langan. Probably the creepiest story I've ever read. None of Stephen King books have ever scared me, but this book, The Fisherman, it's a print-on-demand book. It's not, published under any giant publishing agency. It's not Penguin. It's not Hachette. It's some small print-on-demand, I think, independent book, and it is brilliant. So yeah, that one's more of a cosmic horror that's set in like the late 1800s. It's a weird book. We'll talk about that later too. That was a great one. So I'm into horror of all sorts. Thrillers and murder mysteries. I'm trying to expand what I read, what I like to read. I'm not against reading anything. I've read erotica. I've read romance. I've read literary. I like blood. I like gore. I'm a dude. Rambo's one of my favorite books. I love Rambo. That book was gnarly, dude. That was good stuff. So yeah. That's a little bit about me. And as we transition into the review of the book, and you've gotten to know me a little bit, I'm gonna probably try to finish this beer and open up beer number. Actually, I got started early. Don't judge me on this, okay? This is not the best. This is a cheap beer that I get. I don't love the Bud Light Orange, but I gotta finish it. I can't leave beer in the fridge and not drink it. So I'm trying to choke that stuff down. So I downed that one. Got me my Oktoberfest and a Sam 76 to follow through with. I should have a pretty good buzz by the time we're reviewing The Shadows. Oh, it was so good. It was so good. Oh, I'm so excited. I don't know what to do really with this booktube thing. It's going to change as I continue to grow and figure out what the hell I'm doing. I'm just jumping in the deep end right now. I'm just going to go swimming, see what you guys like, listen to any suggestions. Maybe you hate the way this looks and you're like, Joe, that looks stupid as hell. dude. Like, get rid of that shit. Whatever. I don't care. Tell me. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just here to talk books, talk about being an author. So what I'll do is I'm gonna finish this beer. All right, not quite finish it, but got a good chunk of it down. Tell you a little bit about my background, and then we'll go into the review. How's that sound? Cool. I had a bachelor's degree in creative writing through Saginaw Valley State University, so I've gone to college, I've studied the art, I've broken down, all the lit theory stuff, all that fun things. So when I do reviews, at least I kind of know what I'm talking about. It's not always going to be just whether or not I liked it or not, I won't go into spoilers as much as I can, but I'll go into the deeper meanings of things, I hope, and try to flesh out a pretty good review for you guys. Cool. So I'm going to try to finish beer number 2, get to beer number 3, and we will start to talk about Alex North. Alex North is an English author from Leeds, England. I don't know where that is. Probably in a lake somewhere. We're going to edit some laughter into that. Maybe some canned laughter. That's a funny joke, right, Reeds? That was beer number 2. Sam 76. So one of the things I dislike is that I bought this book as a digital book. I bought it on my Nook. I read it. I loved it. And at some point, I'm going to have to buy the physical copy. I love holding the book up, talking about it, feeling the cover, feeling the pages in my hands, the smell of the book, especially talking about it in review. I'd like to show it to the camera and say, hey, this is on my shelf, right? Which is not behind me. My bookshelf's actually over there. But I watched a YouTube video about being a basic YouTube booktuber, and bookshelves behind me with a white shelf and Christmas lights are like a no-no or something. I guess there's rules. I don't know. I'm not going to worry about it, but I'm not going to be anyone but who I am, and this is what I do. This is my stuff. So if you don't like it, I'll just drink more beer. Okay, that did not taste like what I thought it would. That kind of tastes like a pine tree. I'm still going to drink it, though. Okay, back to the shadows. Oh, what to say about Alex North's The Shadow? Horror or thriller? Combination of both? More than likely is where I would put it. It was good. It was damn good. I'm going to do my best not to swear and curse during these reviews, but sometimes a book is fucking amazing, and this book is up there on that for sure. Basically, it boils down to multiple timeline scenario, multiple perspective scenario, so a little bit of a complicated narrative format, but never once did I read it being confused on when it was happening and who it was happening to. The author is very strong at pacing the book, keeping it easy to follow, but basically you're following two different stories. A story of a detective, I think her name was Amanda, I'm pretty sure that's the right name. I'm terrible with character names, by the way. And the main character, Paul. They're both main characters. So, Paul, you get split from present and his past in this small town where this terrible murder happens in the woods surrounding these teenagers, and kind of like an occult setting. You never know really what happened, but you have your suspicions. And like 20-some years later, a copycat type of killing happens where the detective comes into play, Amanda, and she's kind of looking over the case and meeting up with Paul, and there's flashbacks. It was suspenseful. It really was. It was up there with Stephen King, some of his better books. In fact, I like Stephen King a lot, but his books, like I said, they never scare me. They never made me feel creeped out. This book didn't scare me per se, but it crept into my dreams at night. There's different types of imagery that it builds with a it's not really a character but an entity, or however you want to say it, called Mr. Red Hands, which is pretty creepy. there's a lot to unpack in the narrative that the author does a really good job of keeping you just enough in the know, but not quite enough in the know to really figure it out. I'm pretty good at figuring it out too. And I had my thoughts, and I'd say I came close. I figured out some things, but it definitely kept me on my toes, which is rare. You know, it was good. It was a damn good book. If you like horror, if you're a Stephen King fan, if you're looking for and he's not necessarily a new name. He had I'm pretty sure an international bestseller before this. I'd never heard of it, mind you. It's not like a tag-along series or anything. That this is a standalone, but Alex North knows what he's doing. One of the things I've been kind of toying with before I jumped into this was how was I going to rate books? What do I do a 1 out of 5 star like everyone does? Do I do the good old-fashioned, this is a college course. I'm gonna grade people A+ to a F. I was thinking about maybe just doing like a must read only if you like the genre, read if you're really bored, don't read, fucking burn it, was something I was kind of toying with. But so if you guys have any ideas on how I should rate these books over others or any cool ideas, I'd love to hear. Throw it in the comment. While I take another long drink of this beer and try to drink down this pine sap, I'm going to think about how I want to rate this. I know what I'm thinking of, and I'll see if that seems like a good idea after I drink beer number 3 here. So let's down that. So this may change, but we're gonna do letter grades. There's not a lot of this book that I did not like. I thought it was really, really well done. When I look at grading books, I think overall, was it just entertaining? Did I enjoy it? Did I choke on it? Or was it an easy read? And yes, I love this book. I never once was bored reading it, ever. I really enjoyed the time I sat down. I look forward to sitting down and reading at night, where sometimes I get to the point where I choke a book down. I'm looking at you, King. I'm looking at you. There's a couple of your books that I just had to choke down. Some of your books I couldn't put down. Salem's Lot, man, that shit got stuck in my throat for weeks. I hated that book. How was the pacing? Was it, did it slow down in parts where I had to, physically turn those pages that weighed 10 pounds, or was I just flowing through it? And in this book, I thought the pacing was phenomenal. Especially with the fact that it dealt with multiple perspectives and timelines. That can be a tricky thing to get across and really not weigh down the book. But Alex North did an amazing job of just letting that thing go down much smoother than the Sam 76 Pine Lager that I'm drinking. Dialogue. Now, if you don't have strong dialogue and you're a published author, with one of the big 3 companies, and there's some problems there. But this dialogue, it was good. It was good. There was nothing wrong with it whatsoever. Sometimes, even in some of the King books, I feel like some things get stifled a little bit. But it was awesome. I can't think of any part of this book that was not excellent. The character developments were phenomenal. I felt like I really got to know Paul. I understood his struggles. I felt bad for him. The ending was brutal, without spoilers. It was good. It's hard to review books without giving these guys spoilers. There's things I want to talk about and how well it was handled and developed. But if I go into any further detail, it's going to ruin part of the plot for you, and I can't do that. Part of the fun of this book for me was I didn't know much about it. I came in blind. I won't lie, the cover intrigued me. I'm a manager at a national bookstore here in America, and when we unpacked this book and I was kind of looking at it, the cover caught my eye. I've been reading a lot of horror. I've never read horror in the past. I've been writing horror lately. And I'm like, wow, that's cool. I dig that cover. It sets the mood. I think the title is bland as hell. The shadows, really, like but it works. The cover made me pick it up and read the inside jacket. The inside jacket caught my attention. There's a big part of the book that has to do with lucid dreaming, which I thought was interesting. And it only grew my interest as I read the book. Made me want to look it up and kind of dig more research into it. It was just all around awesome. So I've decided to do a letter grade. A letter grade. This was a college course. I was a professor of literary minds. What would I rate it? And I do have, a background in creative writing, a degree. So I kind of know what I'm talking about. I'm not a complete jackass over here saying, la-di-da-di-da, your book was trash. F! No. Not to mention, if a book is really trash, I probably won't review it on here anyways. I'm not a big fan of getting on a book review or even writing book reviews that just straight up trash books. It doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help the author. If anything, I'd maybe send them a personal message and say, hey, I had some thoughts on your book, because I'm an author, and I would appreciate that. I wouldn't give it an A+. I want to keep those really special books, 1 in a million books, to an A+. The Fisherman by John Langan, an A+. It by Stephen King, an A+. But I would give this book a real strong, solid A. Like a strong A. 99%. Like, it was that good. Part of the fun for me was never hearing of this author, having no idea about his writing style, finding it on the shelf at work, picking it up, and investing some time into a book that really blew my mind. I know we're getting a little bit long on this book review. I want you guys to know that my other book reviews will be right around 10 minutes, but I wanted to take some time to introduce myself, who I am, what I like, what I'll be reading. And I just picked up a pretty good bookload of books. I got Karen Slaughter's Pieces of Her. I really like Karen Slaughter, by the way. I've never read Megan Miranda. I picked up one of her books. I'm currently reading The Marsh King's Daughter by a local Michigan author, which I'm really enjoying. That'll be my next review. And I'll do some backlog reviews. I want to review Stephen King's It. I want to review Salem's Lot. I want to review I don't know. I've read I'm up to 37 books this year so far. My goal is 55. Should get there, no problem. But now that I'm back to work and I got a quota to meet for my my second book contract this year, so I have to finish my second novel here in about 3 months. And I'm close to it, but I got some work to do on it. It'll be hard to get to that 55, but I'll get there. I've been reading long-ass books, too. I want to read The Stand this year. That's going to take me, I could read 4 books in the span. It's going to take me to read Stand. Anyways, this is your first edition of Books and Brews, the review. Shadows, Alex North, if you're a fan of horror or thriller. And if you don't like horror, but you do like thriller, give it a chance. Read it to the end. Because as much as it seems horrific and borderline supernatural, it's cemented in, I think, potentially real-world potential. If that makes sense. The brews are getting to me a little bit, so my head's getting a little foggy. So some of my explanations might be a little foggy. But I think we're good on our first review. I would love thoughts. I would love to hear why I suck. How could I be better at this booktube thing? Am I doing it right? Do I suck at it? And if I could be better, how could I be better? I can't do much about my face. I'm kind of stuck with that. I know I'm not the most attractive booktuber out there. I'm digging the drinking part, though. Not gonna lie, I don't drink a lot, but when I do, it doesn't take much. And I feel like I get smarter when I drink. That might just be the brew talking. But, yeah. Expect the next book to review to be The Marsh King's Daughter. I bought that one physically, too, so I can, hold it and, put it up next to my face and be like, that's my book. I'm reviewing this bad boy. Also, if you haven't read that book, look it up. It's damn good. I'm about 30% through, and I'm hooked like a northern pike in a Michigan lake in the Upper Peninsula, where that book actually takes place. With that, ladies and gentlemen, book lovers, beer lovers, alcoholic brew drinkers, I think that's it. I think we're wrapping up this one. I had fun doing this. This is what I miss this. I miss being in front of a camera. I miss talking about things that I'm passionate about. I miss spending time in my man cave. I like it down here. Happy reading, happy drinking. Drink responsibly, read responsibly, and challenge yourself to step into a different genre that you don't normally read, a new author you've never heard of. You might find something that you love. You never know. And with that, cheers.